Myself. First of all, I just want to welcome everyone today and just tell you this has been a very exciting week to see this consortium idea just kind of blossom and the enthusiasm I've been getting. And I want to just thanks and congratulate all of you, practically all of you here for signing up already. It really means a lot because I'm gonna put my last email out. About the consortium launch tomorrow. And I was thinking, it's so much like when I compose a piece of music. When I compose a piece of music, it's the same thing. You start with sketches and everything. And I realized there were like two themes I was trying to reconcile. One theme was, for sure, one theme was just the fact that we all want to learn more about music. There's no question. That's what I get. The number one question, it's not really a question, it's a declaration I get every time I give a pre-concert talk is, I love music, just wish I understood more about it. And people talk that way. And then the second thing is that there's such, I've told you this many times, this is why we enjoy being together so much in these hangouts, this need to get out of isolation. And it's more than pandemic isolation. It's this idea that we experience these phenomenal works of artistry. We go to concerts, we go to plays, we go to, even movies, and then we just go home. We're missing that important part of being together and sharing and learning from each other. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that, and I wanted to celebrate all of the signups we have. I'm doing Patreon. I just want you to know, different than almost anyone else is doing Patreon. Patreon normally is a model where, there's the artist up here, and then there's the fans below, and then the fans pay money to get all these kind of things. So I'm turning it a little bit around. Yes, you are supporting me and the things I want to do, but the real focus of this is you guys and the community we're going to create. And so I'm very excited about all these possibilities, and I want to just talk with you about it in more depth today. And then we can talk about Mahler 7 and all that stuff as well. And I'm sure you've got questions and things you'd like to discuss. So let me go through this first with you, but actually before, Larry was commenting on my hair. My hair is like this because that was the result of my rehearsal. You guys try rehearsing Sibelius' Second Symphony on Zoom. That's all I can say. It is preposterous. I've got this huge orchestra. We're all on Zoom yesterday, and I'm diligent. I took my notation program and I created all kinds of examples for everyone to play together. On Zoom, it's fine for us to talk together, but you can't synchronize music. So I can only have one person playing at a time while everyone else plays along silently. You can imagine how that's not enough feedback for me to know what to do. And so a lot of times I'm doing what I do in my talks, hangouts here, and lectures. I'm playing the score on the piano. Sibelius 2 is not the easiest score to play. And turning pages and trying to count at the same time so they can play along with me. Then we're using YouTube recordings. The whole thing is so fascinating. YouTube has these wonderful algorithms where you can slow down the video and it still will play at pitch. And so it's so funny because here we're taking Sibelius. Like the third movement is, if you don't know the third movement of the symphony, it just goes so fast. And so I'm slowing it down half speed. Okay. And we talking about major symphony orchestras, and at half speed, you can hear how they're not together at all. Because once it goes full speed, you can't notice it. It's too fast. But half speed, it's just completely ragged. So I'm trying to have my orchestra play along with it at half speed. It didn't work either. So even so, we were getting through parts of the first and second movement. And then, sorry, I just have to make this a dramatic story. I get news that my assistant conductor had food poisoning. That meant that with no preparation, I had to conduct the other orchestra with a totally different set of pieces. That was a lot of fun. So that's why my hair is this way. And it's been really, really, really fun. Okay, so we're going to, the orchestra is going to meet together in person next week. And Priscilla, who's on our call, was one of the reasons we held off this long because she sent me a lot of COVID information. And I think we're still meeting probably a week too early or two, but we can't, we'll never make it to Carnegie Hall. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? It's not just
Practice.
practice. You have to be in person, in person, in person. So that's what I learned about Zoom. It has lovely opportunities, but for synchronizing musicians together, I'm sorry, we're not there. That said, I was able to share the score with students, and I was able to walk them through the piece in a depth I probably couldn't do in person. So I want to throw that out there too, because when I think about our consortium, of course we want to be in person. That's what we want to be, but there are certain advantages we have too. And so I certainly believe going forward, we want to have these hybrid lives, right? We want to take the richness that the technology does allow us to have to be able to reach people we wouldn't meet otherwise, and to be able to have the kind of intense discussions and be able to use for me at least, all the YouTube stuff and everything. We want to be able to use all that as well, and then bring that into our daily lives. So the I wanted number one, I wanted to celebrate all of you who have signed up, because we've just started this thing, and I have 32 of you signed up now, which is phenomenal. And it's the questions that people have been asking have really made me think much more deeply about what I've started, and I want to share some of that with you too. I also want to tell you something very unexpected that happened that has me very excited. When I was preparing to publicize the Patreon launch, the coach I worked with, she said, "Well, I said I'm really not good with social media," and that's true. I really am not. And she said, "Well, you have a lot of friends. Why don't you ask them?" And so I prepared these little email things for them. I said, "Would you mind posting this? And then, oh, and by the way, would you like to be a guest at one of our future consortium events?" And it took me a week to identify all the friends on Facebook I have and that are musicians, really fine musicians. And I came up with a small list of 350, just to give you an idea. That's, I didn't realize how many really wonderful musicians I know. And of those 350, so far, 60 of them have said they want to be involved. And the reason I'm telling you this is I didn't expect that. Two of them have been hounding me, saying they want to be guests as soon as possible, a pianist and a conductor. Okay. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is I think this is starting something that's going to go deeper than I had imagined. And the upper tiers, like I'm saying, are going to be getting the benefits of this. But I'm rethinking it. I'm feeling that I want everyone to be able to have some exposure to all these magnificent artists as well. So I just wanted to share. That was the second thing. Let me just get off a few of the things I want to talk about, and then of course we'll just open it to discussion, questions, and anything else you guys want to talk about. I think the first thing I wanted to talk about was the Patreon itself. I think you guys have seen this now. Let me see. Are you seeing the page with the classical consortium on it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just, what's been real, I just want to talk about it a little bit. What's been so wonderful is that I've had people signing up for all four tiers. And you see, I made really pretty banners for them, that feature the thing of each tier pretty much. So the classical listening hangouts, as I'm saying, if you read my email, I'm thinking that this is really, this is for people who really just want to experience the hangouts, but it's going to also include the Zoom performances as well. You're going to get tickets to these Zoom concerts I'm going to put together, and I'm planning on 3 of them. They will feature me and my music, but they're also going to feature other artists and other people's music as well. And the aficionado level is what I'm hoping everyone will go on, because that is going to take us to the Slack channel. Now, the way the Patreon site works is, it lists the benefits, and then if you go under, you start to see posts. So if you'll check the Patreon site, I'm going to be putting posts on it. Here, this was the original post I had. then you know this was the, if you haven't seen it here, I posted the launch party we had, and I edited that to get rid of all of my clumsy searching for videos. And I'm working hard on that, by the way, so no one has to go through that anymore. But you know, people said wonderful things. And I want to say again to those of you who participated in the roundtable, I cannot tell you the feedback I got from people about how much they enjoyed that. Yes, I got a lot of emails from people saying my favorite part of the whole thing was seeing how much these people who've been doing it have been having a good time. And that seemed to really come through. And you know, seeing you guys talk to each other, and seeing that you haven't met for the most part, but you haven't met, but you become friends. I think that was really probably the most powerful part of the party, and that was really fun to see. And then you know, then I'm going to be posting things. I'll be posting content for each tier as well. You know, as general things. Like for instance, I'm joking. Here's the super top secret classical listening hangout Zoom link I'm giving you, which will be for all of our hangouts starting next Monday. And so it'll be a different link than we've had before, and it will require registration, just for the first time. And I was congratulating this is the first day when I had the first 11 people. And you're going to be getting, I'm sorry to make you dizzy, but all the content in here is going to be available. So I will be emailing people, of course, things like the tickets and information for that. But for the Slack channel, I'll be posting the links for that here in the consortium. It allows me to do posts that are specific to each tier, and I also will be. It also lets me have email lists to just get to you all individually. So I'm going to go through Slack in a second because I want to talk about Slack particularly today because I think it's the thing that can be so powerful. By the way, the other thing I'm trying to learn how to do is to hide some of these things. So if you'll just bear with me for one moment here.
And there's a black spot on the screen.
I'm going to try to learn how to get rid of all of that. Okay, did that help a lot?
No.
No, it's worse, way worse.
I got rid of everything?
Yeah, we just see the black spot,
okay.
black square.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a suggestion on that. When you go full screen, if you don't go completely full screen on Zoom, but like partial full screen,
yeah.
And if there's a way you can like reduce it, with a little arrow. I don't know if there's a way to do that with Zoom full screen. I might be completely wrong. It's just the minister at my church, where we've been doing, of course, online services for most of the last 2 years, told me a trick that has something to do with that, I think. And then you can just click on those. You can minimize those. Actually, if you minimize, that's right. If you minimize the things that are causing the black splotches, or click on them to get rid of them, then they go away.
It doesn't click on it. There's a control. So what I did is I got rid of my controls. But are you guys still seeing this black thing I'm moving?
No.
Upper right,
No.
upper small one in the upper right.
Yes. And now it's in the center?
Yeah. Well, upper center.
So this is the one I can't seem to get rid of. I can't seem to disappear that one. But I've
it's
disappeared
okay.
everything.
It's not really blocking anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Press.
Okay. And now you see the black thing on the top again?
No.
Yes.
You don't, or you do? Yeah.
Yes,
All
we
right, now
see
it's
it.
gone. Now it's gone. Okay. It's a
Now
little
it's in the
tricky.
middle. Now it's in the middle. No.
There shouldn't be anything in the middle. You're seeing something in the middle?
Now it's clear.
And now it's not. Yay.
It's just at the top. What time is it, Russell?
That's so crazy. I'm sorry, what? What were you asking?
I said, what time
Time.
is it? I'm joking.
Oh, that's very funny. Okay. You having a lot of fun with this. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Well, this is important. I want to figure this out. I don't know why they make it so difficult on Zoom. The master listener, those of you who are master listeners, and we've got several of you who are doing that, I'm already finished my first monthly video, and I'm pretty excited about what I'm doing. This one is actually about how I'm preparing the Sibelius second, and I have so many interesting ideas I'm going to do with that. I'm going to be talking, just to give you a little preview of that. I'm going to be doing a whole video on something called finger pedaling. Do any of you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the piano. Because I've been working on a Bach fugue, and I don't think I've ever seen a video that talks to non-pianists about finger pedaling. I mean, how do you take these 10 fingers and manage to get around 88 keys? You know, in Bach's time, there was no sustain pedal. So there were very, very clever things you had to do with your fingers to be able to sustain certain tones while you're playing others, and also just getting around the keyboard. So I thought something like that, I'm going to try and present it in a very, hopefully entertaining way about finger pedaling. So you just have an idea of that. This is my chance to kind of expose you to some of the so to speak, I don't know, I'm calling them the secrets of composing, performing, and conducting. Things that we're going to give you, hopefully, some really interesting insights about how classical music works and how it's put together. And these are things I spend my time thinking about 24 hours a day, and I'm sure that our musicians on this call, like Noam and Mark, feel the same way about that. And so I just thought it would be fun, because so much of what I'm trying to do is bring you guys into an understanding of that world without having to go through all the jargon or the 6 hours a day of practice that I did when I was a kid. So I'm going to be those videos are actually going to be posted here on the Consortium thing, so you'll be able to see it there. And then the creative circle thing are something we're all, I will be getting back to you, because we're going to have to do a doodle, because I want to make sure for all of that all of you are able to attend that, as much as possible. I do have a problem because one of my creative circle members lives in Germany, and so I haven't figured that one out. So they will be recorded. That's the other thing. All this content is going to be recorded and available for you as well. And so I wanted to let you know that. I talked to you. I think I did a pretty good job yesterday of explaining what this is about with each tier. And just to kind of summarize, in case you didn't read it, the supporter, you meet with our entire consortium on Mondays, and we have all these wonderful, fascinating discussions. And there definitely will be some guest artists, and I'm working on that. How I'm gonna move that around. The aficionado is the thing I'm going to show you next. I just want to again show you how Slack works, because all of you who are members are going to be invited to Slack tomorrow, and that's where I really think the beauty of this whole idea is, that you really can interact with each other. So you're not just learning about music, you actually get to become friends. The master listener is where I'm going to, as I've said, I'm going to really take you into, I think, a deeper understanding what's going on. It's also like if you wanted a place where you could ask all those questions you always wanted to know the answers to, that's going to happen in the master listener thing. And I think that just uses my experience, I think, and my ability to interface with listeners in ways that don't require advanced knowledge. And that's something I've made my life doing, I've realized, because I've been wanting to connect to audiences ever since I've been performing my music. And then the creative circle is the one that's going to be the most passionately interesting to me, because it's going to be something that grows. Right now, it's going to include these special Zoom sessions after concerts, and it may be a day or two after concert. I'm going to be trying to make sure it's at times when everyone in the circle can make it. And it's really going to be a chance to meet artists. Like when I have the artists that we had at the launch party, and they talked to all of you and shared things. That's one way of getting to learning what they do. But I want to get it a little more intimate, because these people I know have unbelievable stories, and I'm pretty good at getting these stories out of them. And so this is where you're gonna actually get to know them. And they're so like, I'll give you one example. Corey Pezzaturo, the accordionist, he's such a riot. He was on our launch thing just before he was about to do a sound check for the concert. But Corey is friends with Mario Andretti, the famous race car driver. And there's so many funny stories and interesting stories he can tell about things like that. I just think it's fascinating. Plus just hearing how do you really make, what's really behind this whole thing. He's trying to make this career with playing the accordion. It's really interesting. Anyway, so I wanted to share that.
It's
Can you
not
mute us,
working. I'm
maybe?
sorry. I thought I was listening to headphones.
Can you mute us maybe, even though I love.
Yeah, I will.
talk.
One second.
I don't know why it's not working. Let me try that. I'm like, have the headphones on. I didn't realize it wasn't working.
One secondo. So I'm trying all these screen share things now. Okay, let me stop the share and mute. Mute all. Okay. And let me try the share again. Yeah, I'm getting through what I wanted to talk about. Just one second. I'm learning how to do this now. Hide the controls. Da-dum. Okay, so I think I wanted to say, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I'm gonna take you through Slack now. I also wanted to say that all of you who sign up by tomorrow, you know that I'm offering you, of your choice, one of these entire series. Now, there may be one or two of you who've actually have every one of them. If that's the case, then you're gonna, we will work something out where you get some bonus for this. I assure you that'll happen. But just to let you know right now, that's the Romantics, the string quartets, the art songs, Secrets of Music Theory, hearing classical forms, and Bartok. I'm still working on the editing of those, but those will be coming out as well. And soon there'll be the piano concerto, and also can include my Mahler's Symphonic World Part 1, Part 2, or the Shostakovich Art and Legacy. These are all pretty full series, some of you know, and I think I get into a lot of depth, and I think they're, at least people are telling me they're fun to listen to. Okay, enough of that. I want to just show you the Slack channel briefly, if I can figure out how to get. Okay, I'm starting to learn how this works now. Okay, so let me get to Slack. So you're going to be receiving a link to be invited to Slack. So just to remind you, what you need to do is you need to you download the free Slack application, and you will launch that application, and you will register just like you register for anything else. There's no charge to register. And then you'll be able to click on my invitation that I've sent to you, and then you'll be admitted to Russell's Classical Consortium here on Slack. And it's a very, I think, very useful, easy to use chat platform. So what it is, I've created these channels here. And you can click on these channels to see these different things. So here is where I'm going to be posting calendar events. In fact, here I just put a link to my calendar of things where you can see what's coming up. Then I have a channel for classical discussions, and so this can be about anything related to classical music. You see here, Ruth just today posted this really, I think, a really interesting post on a piece by Leonard Bernstein I never knew about before.
Beautiful song, by the way.
Oh my God, so gorgeous, and never knew it. And so this is something, you can share these things with each other. It's very easy to share videos. And what I love about the videos is, just like in YouTube, you don't have to leave. It doesn't take you anywhere else. You can play them right with, well, this one I couldn't. I think I played this one. Yeah, this one worked. Gorgeous chord just to start out with, right?
Winds may blow and snows may snow.
Okay, so you can listen to that at your own leisure. Also look at, if you want to respond to anyone, and if you respond, it will create then a column on the side where you can actually respond to different things. So if you want to respond to Ruth, it will start to appear on the side there. And any discussion you click on will start to do that. Here was Diana talking about her Max Steiner film, and you can see all of these wonderful things people have been posting. Michael Morrison, this is me posting about Brahms. And I posted the mezzo-soprano songs featured in the New York Times, because mezzo-sopranos aren't celebrated enough. Here's Chuck, posting about Nan Caro's transcription for two pianos. So this is really great. Then I have a thing for general news, and this can be anything general you guys want to talk about. Here I'm talking about the signups we had.
Russell, wait 1 second before you go on to that next one.
Yeah.
I was looking at this page today, and for example, I wanted to say something to a specific person. I want to say something about something that had been posted a long time ago, or about
Uh-huh.
years ago. Does it go chronologically that so that my response of today,
Uh-huh.
I mean, how's it ever going to link up to what was posted 10
Okay,
minutes?
so let me explain how it works. If you want to respond to a post, you don't if you're creating something yourself, okay, this is what I wanted to show you today. You do it here on the bottom. There's a
Right.
place to do. So you create your own thing, and you create your own thing, and you can put attachments there. If you click this, right, then you can add all kinds of attachments.
Yeah,
If
but I
you-
was wanting to comment.
I'm gonna show you that. Just hold on, hold your
Okay.
horses. If you want to put emojis, there's your choice for emojis. If you want to write to a particular person, or you want to mention someone particularly, okay, but it's going to go to everyone. You might mention them particularly. You click this button, and now you can mention particularly that I want to write something to Pat. Okay, everyone will receive it, but I'm directing it especially to Pat's attention there, right? And then this is for for hiding the formatting. Okay, so this is not responding to anything. This is for creating something. But if you want to respond to someone, you don't do it here. What you do is when you see how this window came up here.
Okay, yeah.
Now here's where you can do. You can react to it. You can click this and react to it some way with if you want to just do something cute. And this is the important one. You reply to it in a thread right here. So instead of saying it was fun to do here, Pat, if you had done it here, right, then it would create this column on the right-hand side, and then you could write, to it.
So the Nan Caro thing, that's where I would respond.
Okay, let's go to the Nan Caro thing. So Nan Caro thing was in classical discussions, and you locate it first, if I can do that. Which way is it?
I think further down,
Okay.
maybe.
This is the Brahms. I think it's further up, actually. So if you wanted to comment on the Nan Caro, oh wow, we got into Dickinson. I think we went too far back.
No, I think it's this year.
Okay, let's go forward.
Is that it? I know, I just passed it, I think.
I passed it? Okay. Was this it? Yeah. Okay. Well, this is Casals. This is another thing. But let's just, for the sake of argument, say you want to respond to it. You click this thing, reply in thread, and then you see it puts it on the right-hand side, and then whatever you type will be responding specifically to that. So it's very, very easy. Okay?
Patricia and I did it around Nan Caro, and we communicated on the right number.
That's what we did.
Yeah, somewhere I'm trying to find. I just lost Nan Caro somehow. Was that in the general one? Maybe.
No, it was on the right side that
Okay.
It's
Well,
okay.
anyway,
I get
that's
it.
how that works.
we get.
And yeah. So you understand the difference. Just to summarize, if you type down here, you start something new. If you instead go to the top of a post and you click this here, then you're replying to it, and then it creates something on the side to respond.
The arrow is to share it, right?
This is to share it, right? If you want to share the message with someone particularly, okay? And now, what if you just want to talk to one person or a group of people, okay? So here's where the direct messages are. You just click that person, and it will go just to that person. And I don't know why I don't have you listed there, but if I wanted to list to Diana, then I would. This is my direct messages with Diana, and this would go just to her.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I have calendar, classical discussions, anything general. This is for my projects, things I'm particularly going to be doing. And everything I do now is going to be related to the consortium. So that will include my concerts. It will include my orchestra stuff. It will include my lectures. It will include books that I'm writing, etc. And then a social corner. And this is really important. So if you just you want to talk about anything, and so there's your friend Yoko.
Yes.
And you can talk about all of these things here. So this, and so you add your emojis. And what I love about it is you can connect. You can do pictures. You can do web links. You can do videos, and it just all stays in here. And I think it's great. And we can. And I mean, my God, there's so many interesting things. You're talking about Nancaro, Copland's. I'm sorry, Bernstein's songs I never knew. And here, Caroline put this amazing thing about Tchaikovsky's patronage. So I think this is going to be very, very powerful.
But the problem was I didn't intend to put it in there, and I wasn't quite sure how to get to where I wanted to put it. Putting in the attachments is the thing that still confounds me a bit.
Okay, so let's practice that. Okay, so here, let's say we wanted to do that. Okay, let's try that out. By the way, I'm not looking. Should I be looking at the chat? Is there anything I need to see in there? I'll hit that later. It's hard when I'm sharing a screen. Okay, so let's try it. So let's create a post. Okay, so we add a title. I'm trying to figure this out too. Okay, so Madame Van Meck. Okay, what does this allow us to do? I haven't done this yet either.
We have a big black box on the screen.
Oh, you can't see it? Okay, forget it. That's not going to work. Okay, well, I think you see, I have to. Oh, these are for shortcuts. No, you just okay. So you had a web link to Madame Van Meck, I assume. Was there a web link to that, Caroline? Did I lose you? Okay. Here, let me try something. Let me just quickly try something. Okay, so just to show you how I would do it. 1 second. Okay, so now, if I was to just, okay, so the attachment, you see this thing here? There's the link. So I would do that. That would be for a link. Okay. So that should have put it there. Let's see.
It didn't.
Didn't. Let's try it again. No, because I put it in the text part, sorry. And this is wiki on Mech. Okay, so now let's see if that works now. Yes, so now that there we go. So that's how you would have done that with a link. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
So, no,
it's kind of remembering all these little details there.
Well, it's a little bit, but you see, if you hold the mouse over as I'm holding it over the B, that's bold.
Yeah, I get that.
Italic here, this is strike through, and then this one is link, and so it's a link that you're creating, a link to a particular thing. And I'm trying to see. So where do you if you want to load things from your computer, that's in here. And I'm just trying to see. Oh, I see. You can add from Google. You can't see this. Are you seeing this window that came up when I hit that? It says upload from your computer.
Yeah.
So then you would click that if you wanted to attach something that you have on your computer. So those are the two ways of attaching. You would, if the file's on your computer, you hit the plus sign. If it's something that you got off the interweb, to quote Best in Show or something, then what you do is you click the link button, and a box comes up. I don't know if you can see this. You can describe what it is, and then there's a box that says link, and you just paste into that, and then it posted this. So that's why we're seeing the Madame Van Meck, and then it actually just puts the beginning of it here. And then if I wanted to click on that, it would take me to the web page. Okay, does that make sense? I think as you do it more and more, it'll work. It'll work easier. And I just like it because what I like about Facebook with my friends is they post things I never would have known otherwise. I mean, I have a Facebook friend, Byron Adams, a wonderful composer and teacher who posts he's an expert in English and French music of the 20th century. And he posts music I would just never know otherwise, of whether it's Ralph Vaughan Williams or whoever. And it's just wonderful stuff. And so what I love is the problem with Facebook, that's everything. Here we can actually dedicate it to what we actually care about. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share about Slack. And I think that's pretty exciting. Yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to do is I want to put in the chat the link, because I'm hoping you guys will consider inviting people to it, because the more of your friends we have in this, I think the more effective it's going to be. So it's patreon.com/my name. So just to let you know, that is the link you'd send people if they want to check it out. And I would like to hear from you guys about I've been getting all kinds of questions, for instance. Let me give you one of them, and then we can respond. One of the questions I had, someone said, I don't have I'm not able to be a Creative Circle member, but what if there's a specific event that I'd like to be at? You know, maybe there's a specific artist or a specific concert you've done that I would like to be at. Can I pay for that separately? So I hadn't thought of that. You know, I'm just kind of giving you some examples of things. Are there any questions or suggestions that you guys have as we starting this?
Do you want to post that again so we can view the different levels of, as you're talking, we can reference that?
Oh. You want to, here, let me.
I think it would be
the best way to post. Yeah. Well, actually, just click on this. That's the best way. Just click on the thing in the chat that I just put in the chat.
Russell, you could share your screen and talk about it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. So Gloria, I just want to be really clear. Unmute yourself for a second. What is it you were asking you wanted to see? The tiers? The different Patreon tiers? You're muted, so I can't hear you right now.
You answered my question.
Oh, okay.
All we have to do is go to that box. Okay.
Yeah, go to that box. That lets you know the difference. Tomorrow, everyone who's a member is going to be receiving, well, you've already received the Hangout link. Probably be sending that again. And those of you aficionado up will be getting the Slack, the Slack invitation, so you can formally join Slack. It's very important that I get you on there. And I'm going to work hard to make sure if you have any problems, you email me and let me know. And because I think I want to make sure it's comfortable. Look, technology is always, we all go through it. Look at me trying to be able to hide my controls. It's insane. I've had two people now have told me, like Catherine, she just can't get on the Patreon for some reason. So I'm going to be working with her to figure that out. And, in fact, I'm going to show you what I love. I'm going to show you what I get out of this. Okay?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please. Hi, Priscilla.
Hi. I want to know, I'm one of those that cannot get on the Patreon because I didn't realize my computer is so ancient that it has to go through a certain 15 point something to get it. Anyway, I wanted to know, the Hangout, is that still on Zoom?
Yes.
And when you do the lecture series, like the concertos, will that be on Zoom?
Good question, and thank you for asking it. Yes, Patreon is an interface for payment and for me to make posts. It's also a place where I'm able to do videos and put content on. But the actual stuff that I'm going to be doing that I think is the quality stuff, the Hangouts and the Zoom lectures, will still all be on Zoom. Okay. And yes, you'll be getting links on Zoom. However, the lectures will still be done through my website, but the Hangouts, I'm exploring now, recording all the Hangouts and putting them on Patreon. Okay. Because
I don't understand why, my iPad is brand new. It's the most current one.
Yeah.
You keep telling me this does not support Slack. I don't understand that. Whatsoever.
Let me check. I've never tried Slack on an iPad. Does anyone else have that? It should be working just fine.
I have it. It works just fine. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I have it too. I have it too, and Slack is always on my iPad without a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Priscilla, it must be something.
May I jump in there for a minute?
Oh, thank you, Ted. Sure.
I ran into this problem. My desk iMac dates from 2011, and it cannot be updated to the current operating systems that Slack requires. So in order for me to get on, I had to do it through my iPhone which has a current operating system that is consistent. So if you have an iPhone, you might try getting on that direction, or your iPad, if it has the current iOS operating system, you might be able to get on.
Okay.
But Priscilla,
I'm watching you on my desktop computer through Slack. I am through Zoom, so that's no problem. But when I go to Slack, I have to use my phone.
If Priscilla's iPad is brand new, it should support it. Did you put the app on?
Yes, I did. I load the app. I try to load the app on, and then it tells me it's not being supported by this operating system. And my iPad, I don't know what, it's one of those facial recognition, those brand new ones with a big camera. I was so proud of it. But anyway, I'll try it again. It says something not right because it is updated to 15 point something,
No, Priscilla, I don't think you're being given current information because I'm getting it through my iPad too. Russell, the question I would ask then is there any kind of technical support vehicle with Slack that people can call them or contact them to say, I'm having technical problems getting in there? I don't think you can be a technician for all this the whole time.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But this is why this is so important. Let me find the answer to that question.
Okay, thank you.
Now I do want to let you know Patreon is very good about their customer support because I've had to use it now 3 times and they've gotten back to me always within a day. So I think they're very good. I just want to welcome my newest Creative Circle member, Catherine Kiefer, who just popped up on my phone now. so that part of technology works. Bravo, Catherine.
Yes.
Bravo. And you did it. So we will solve this, Priscilla. We will solve this and figure this out. Slack, I need to look in to see how to get help with Slack, and I don't know the answer to that. I haven't had that particular problem. But you know what? If you've had it, I bet you other people will have it as well. I see there's, I see, well, at least there's a, on the Slack website, I'm seeing it's pretty easy to type into their help center. So let me see if I can actually get I wonder if I can just see what I have. I go collecting with the iPad. Okay, well, I will work on that, and thank you for that question. Because these are the kind of things I would never have predicted, how all these things would come up. Again, I think it's a great platform for us, and it's used by a lot of people. Okay, great. More questions, more suggestions, more ideas. Anyone? Trying to think of some of the other.
Post the levels of membership again, and maybe an idea will pop into my head and others.
Sure. So let me just remember where I put it.
And Catherine had a question.
Oh,
okay.
I'm okay. It was a stupid problem, and I luckily figured it out before I embarrassed myself with my question.
Okay. So 1 second here. Let me just see if this was the one. Yeah. So let me. Yeah. So you wanted to see the.
You have an old iPad.
Yeah.
Circles again. Yeah. Does this help you at all, Gloria, to see, or is this too hard? Actually, I think it might be easier just to see it this way.
I like that.
Yeah. Just to let you know how I think. Again, like I put in the thing, I really see it less as tiers and more as these nestled circles nestled within each other, with the creative circle being kind of the nucleus, and it goes out from there. And that, that's the idea. And that's why I'm exploring this idea now of all these incredible musicians that want to be part of it, about having some connection with all the circles. But obviously I'm going to reserve most of the content for the inner circle that way. At the same time, I think, one of the other things I want to do with the Hangouts going forward is I want to allow for more interaction. And, I think you guys have enjoyed the breakout rooms, right?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, I'm with short. I'm with
Has
Seventh
there
Chapter.
been bullying going on in the breakout rooms?
I haven't experienced him yet, so I can't say, but I'd like to try it out.
Well, we're definitely going to try that out. But
We'll get an invitation from him, and then you get on.
yeah. Okay. So and I suppose I should. I don't need to do this really with you, but I want to articulate it anyway because it's important to me that our stance as sentient, sensitive, intellectual, passionate classical music lovers and human beings is that we are supportive of each other, and that I love spirited discussion. I love disagreement. I think all of that is fantastic, but it's always disagreement about the subject matter, not about the person. So I don't. I don't know if that needs to be said, but I want to articulate that. And I probably will put like some kind of quote unquote rules to that extent because.
But Russell, what do you mean about the person? Are you talking about the composer or about members of the circle?
Well, what's going to happen, and if it has happened already, there are people who have very strong opinions. And I just want, as our discussion goes, I just don't want it to be like I see in other forums where there anything remotely as an ad hominem attack to anyone. We are so lucky to be together. I mean, that is the magic of this whole thing. We are so lucky to be together, and so the cherishing of each other and support is so important. I already know that's not an issue with you, but I say this to my orchestra students. I said this yesterday to them because I said, you don't understand what a special group of people you are, because you wouldn't have found each other they were in Los Angeles, but you wouldn't have found each other in your school. This is self-selecting. The fact that they are studying instruments, the fact that they love classical music is bringing them together. And then they start to find out as they talk, and you guys will too, all the other fascinating things you do. Because what I've discovered is people who are interested in classical music are interested in many things and really have incredible experiences to share. I'll give you an example. So yesterday I went through my whole string section of my upper orchestra, and they had to tell me something about themselves that was not about just that they played an instrument or loved music. And we got some amazing answers. These are high school students, and I found out that my concertmaster, she knits, and she's working on a sweater now. I thought that was very interesting for a young woman in 2022, that she's all into knitting. Another one was really into what she said are horrible films. She makes a hobby of trying to look at the worst films ever made. And she said it can't just be like a bad horror film. It's something, it has to really be outstandingly bad. Like, for instance, just shot from one camera angle. She went into a lot of depth. And she talked to me about some Korean films she's seen that really qualify. So this is like her thing. And I'm just like, I don't remember having that hobby when I was a kid.
Don't tell Diana that.
So you discover things about people that are pretty amazing. And so, and that's what's going to happen as we get to talk to each other. I'm going to stop. I want to thank you, Catherine. This is what I received this in the mail today, the snail mail today, Einstein's fridge. And, so this is about me. You guys know I'm pretty fascinated, ignorant, but fascinated about everything about science and math. And so she's explaining to me this book will reach me, how the difference between hot and cold explains the universe. So my kind of book. This is my kind of book.
Tell him Einstein really built a fridge.
My husband's next to me, and he just said to tell. What was it you were saying? He really built a fridge.
Einstein actually built a fridge with his friend, which is a little too complicated for most people to use.
Anyway, enough. But we just know that that you're pretty diverse, Russell. Even though you seem just like you're just all music, you've got a lot of interest yourself. So
Tell him if he has any questions. Just
yeah, if you have questions, you could, you know where to reach my husband.
Okay, thank you very much. that's the other thing that's so wonderful. We can all be like Henry Ford. I don't mean that Henry Ford is anti-Semite. I don't mean that way. But Henry Ford was supposedly, he said he was the smartest person in the world because if he could answer any question. If there was a question he didn't know, he had 7 phones in his office. You guys know that story? And he would just pick up the phone. He says, "What's the answer to this?" So that our consortium is kind of like this. We may not know the answer to things, but we can ask someone in the consortium for the answer to things. So that's kind of what I see going forward. I'm very excited about going forward because I think we're just at the start of something very special. And I look at all of you right now, and I've talked with all of you, most of you individually, not all of you, most of you individually, and the opportunity for you to get to know each other is going to be amazing. So going forward on our Hangout next week, I'm going to be starting with breakout rooms. And you're going to have to talk about something that you do besides listening to music as well, just like I did with my orchestra students. So you get to know each other, and maybe we'll start that way all together, and we can go in breakout rooms because I want to start having much more discussion about music where you're in smaller groups and you feel more comfortable talking about it and what your reactions are to things. And I think that's important. And I will also be listening to any suggestions you have for things that you want to see happening. And there's one other thing. And I just want to tell you some of the exciting events coming on for me now. Okay, so one second here. So I'm learning now to hide it. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Looking for the piano concerto. When I show you a screen, it doesn't automatically default to what I'm seeing here. Okay, so you all looking at the piano concerto. So I'm starting this series tomorrow. From Mozart to Prokofiev, and I'm already hearing from the people disappointed about their favorite concerto I'm not picking. That's the way it goes.
Of course.
Because this is going to be a window, but I just want to tell you what makes this series a little different to me than other series I've done. A lot of them, I was doing one on Bartok Ligeti. I did something, an art song, where I think I'm taking people down paths they haven't been before. This is going down a path I think everyone has been before. I think almost every one of you have heard Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto. I think every one of you have heard the Grieg Piano Concerto. I think every one of you have heard the Brahms Second. I hope every one of you have heard the Chopin E minor. But when have you ever been able to be together where we can actually go into some depth about what's happening in these pieces and really understand why it's so moving? Why these pieces bring us not only to thrills with the way that they, the virtuosity, but also the fact the way they bring us to tears in some of the beautiful sections. And so I'm covering most of the famous concerti. Obviously, I can't do 23 concerti of Mozart. Even that would be a wonderful series in itself. But I'm doing one that Noam and I have both played, and we can both vouch for how beautiful that is. I want to let you know that I'm going to be talking at the Philharmonic in just a few weeks on the Sibelius Seventh Symphony, which is so exciting. Esa-Pekka Salonen is going to be conducting this concert. And the concert, this is Sibelius's final symphony. I'm conducting the second one. And to hear Esa-Pekka do the seventh is going to be a thrill. It's in C major, written at a time when very few composers are writing in C major, even though Schoenberg talked about there were many good pieces left to be written that way. Sibelius was actually doing it. The first piece on the program is one of my favorite pieces, and I hope it's one of yours, the Bartok's music for strings, percussion, and Celeste. That was really the piece that really got me excited. First was an entry to me for me to understand 20th century music personally and get excited about it. Mm-hmm. It's still a piece that just gives me chills down my spine for the unique sound world it creates and just the journey it takes you on. And then Barneson is having a piano concerto. Daniel Barneson, I don't know his music well. I'm going to be getting to know it, but he's going to be having a premiere of a piano concerto. So it's a pretty exciting concert. And then you guys know that I'm also going to be doing the Upbeat Live in March, where Mahler's Seventh Symphony is going to be performed. That was my request to the Philharmonic. They've never let me talk about Mahler because they always have been getting Mahler experts. They want Mahler scholars. And so I said, but I think it's more important for people to know how to listen to Mahler than to know from experts all the facts. And so they let me talk about the Fourth Symphony recently, and I'll be doing the Seventh Symphony. So I just wanted to let you know. And then the other, I don't have a poster for it, but our Los Angeles Youth Orchestra concerts are going to be in April here in Los Angeles. And I'm going to have one at Santa Monica's Barnum Hall and one at the beautiful Ambassador Auditorium in Pasadena, one of our finest concert halls, and then at Carnegie Hall on June 22nd in New York. And any of you who come to that, I promise you will get free tickets. In fact, I'm going to try and arrange for tickets for many of you. So after all of these events, we're going to have special Zoom sessions where we get into some depth. And so whether you're able to actually hear them or not, you're going to be able to have I think some really great experiences. I'm going to do what I can to rope in some of my LA Phil friends to talk with you. And after my youth orchestra concerts, I want to get some of my students, because I think that would be really fascinating, wouldn't it, to be able to hear from a high school student what it was like to have their first time playing a Sibelius symphony and in such beautiful halls. So I just wanted to share that with you. Those are some of the exciting things going on. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? I'm looking at some of you were talking about chilling at the cafe. Now none. If you come to these concerts, you're able to come to these concerts, we'll find a way to get together. Let's see. We're listening to
Actually, the cafeteria now, I go to Green Umbrella, so nobody goes there, but their selection was smaller, but you can bring your own meals. I mean, it's kind of rude, but you can.
Yeah, but the food there is great, so.
It was just limited.
Oh, it's limited. I see.
Yeah, they don't have as many choices as they used to have.
And the place is it's half full, unfortunately. But they do check, and thank God they do check, as I said, they do check your ID and they check your vaccine card. We're all vaxxed, of course, but I like the fact that they verified it.
And you have to have a booster.
Yeah.
Oh. I heard from a friend who went this past weekend that the line was around the block. It was really long to get your vax checked, your card checked.
It depends on when you
get
there.
I did not have that problem, like 3 weeks ago. But she said that it was 20 minutes before concert time, and they had a line to the end and around and turning the corner. So that's something to figure in your timing.
That's right. You have to get there early. Yeah, get there early and get a meal.
I always go about 45 minutes to an hour early. I have no problem getting in. Right. I may have 5 people in front of me.
Right.
Have you written down somewhere the 2 concerts that you're going to speak at coming up?
We always go early.
Yes, if you go to in this, well, I don't know if you're in, I can't remember, Larry, if you're an aficionado or not, but in the Slack channel, I put the calendar, and you know what? I will put it in the calendar right now to all of you, because you can always, regardless of whether you're in the consortium or not, if you go to Steinberg.com calendar, this should get you to everything I'm doing.
Great. And Russell, I have a dumb question, but I plan to come to your classes, the piano concerto.
Yes.
As a member, I think I get a discount. Is that right? And if so, is there a place in there to put that?
No. I'm not discounting the live lectures, Laura.
Got it. Okay.
And the reason for that, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, is that the Patreon thing, the consortium, I really see as different from the actual teaching lectures I'm doing. However, you get a discount on all the recorded lectures.
Thanks. I wasn't paying attention.
No, it's okay. And no, I'm sure other people have that question as well. And that library will be growing, not only with lectures, but that will count for discount. I will you know, theory willing, I will get my harmony book done soon and be able to post that. And so you'll be getting discounts on all of that content coming out, because one of the things I'm realizing that's happening is I'm starting to produce a lot of things, and so anyone in the consortium is going to be getting the discounts there for that. However, everyone who signs up, regardless of the tier, by tomorrow is going to get, by the end of tomorrow, will be able to choose an entire lecture series that's in my library for free. And you
And
just
how
Great.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the information on the Patreon, and you'll just literally choose which one you want, and I will send you the link to that.
Great. Thank you.
So that'll be great. So that's good. Yeah. Okay. So Gloria's talking about my upbeat lives. If you do come to them, will be 1 hour before the concert, and they end 15 minutes before. Thank you for that, Gloria. Yeah, I only have, in my upbeat lives, I only have 45 minutes to talk usually about 3 pieces. It's insane. So, and I want it to be fun. So we have fun with it. I'm big on audience participation, as most of you know. But what I'm thinking about for our creative circle, I want to be able to get into something that's a little more substantial. As well. So the things I can't, I so over prepare for these upbeat lives. So I'm very excited that I can share just a little bit of the other content I'm discovering about that. Noam, thank you so much for all the things you've put in the chat. Yes, he composed 27 concertos, right? I believe only 23 are actually undisputed, but I'm not sure. I have to check on that. David, did you had your hand up?
Just some Mahler 7 anecdotes, information. It's well before the concert. If it needs to wait, it can. Just some short things, some of which I shared to the people in the thread, the testimonials. Some were I just discovered and personal associations about it.
Well, I remember you talking about Werner Klemperer.
Well, yeah, son of Otto. Yeah, but yeah. Son of Otto, Werner, Colonel Klink on Hogan's Heroes. Anyway, with Mahler, first of all, for those of you that haven't heard it before, or even if you have heard it, the instrument you hear at the beginning is a tenor horn. It's not a French horn. It's not a baritone horn. It's a tenor horn. It's the only piece I really know of that features a tenor horn. It's a really unique, mellow but powerful sound. It's got so much soul. The opening of the piece is just amazing. It will just knock you out. It's just fantastic. It's mainly used in British brass bands, but I guess Mahler knew someone that played it. Oh, I want to put that in my piece, just like Paul McCartney with the piccolo trumpet, So
just like Paul McCartney, Mahler 7, just like Paul McCartney, right?
he heard Brandenburg. He heard Brandenburg too, and then he wanted to put that in Penny Lane. That's a fact. Anyway,
I didn't know that. Thank you. This is why we hold these meetings.
Yeah. Anyway, Mahler 7. I studied with the late Mitchell Peters, the timpanist and percussionist of the LA Phil at UCLA. He's a section percussionist and then timpanist of the LA Phil. He was there from '68. He was retired in 2006. In the late '80s, I was there for 3 years, and he would talk about some of the timpani parts he had with the Phil that were really demanding. And he said, "Man, this Mahler 7 timpani part, this is a guy who's a total pro. I really have to practice this. This is really hard. Lots of tuning changes. It's very chromatic. You have to use your feet a lot." So that was, and he passed away in 2017. Just a fantastic, wonderful man, just a consummate musician, great person. He led our percussion ensemble. And then I got to be in it on the inside. It's like I experienced opera for the first time from the inside as a percussionist. Never had listened to one. I got to play in the percussion section for Mahler 7 the summer of '89.
Oh, really?
Summer of '89 at the Music Academy of the West, where we had people from Juilliard and USC and New England Conservatory and from overseas. It was like 2 months of, rehearsals, Don Juan, Rite of Spring, Mahler 7. So that was a summer of working hard and playing hard right after I got my master's degree. Summer at the beach in Santa Barbara, Montecito was the academy. So you have a special memory of a piece when you experience it in kind of an idyllic setting with all those great musicians. And so I've loved Mahler 7 ever since. And I just cannot wait. I'm going to be in the orchestra view. And so I'm going to get a full-on blast of all that amazing orchestration back there and a great view of the percussion.
And you won't hear a single string instrument.
I know. I remember Mitch Peters saying that was the thing he didn't like so much. It was a huge, coming from Dorothy Chandler, listening for musicians on the stage is a huge adjustment. And you can't, that's the problem. Wherever you're sitting in the hall, for those of us in the audience, it's great. But for listening across, it's challenging. Anyway, that was it.
David,
When does it go on?
Mahler Symphony, you mentioned, which one was it?
7, the one that Russell's
Oh, I
Dutch
got
string
it.
on.
Thank you.
Yeah, 7, Mahler 7. He wrote 9, and they're all amazing.
Well,
The Mahler 7 is really,
10.
it's really I would say the odd duck in the Mahler repertoire, so to speak, because he's not neurotic at all in the Mahler 7th. He's still sardonic, but I mean, he's not having visions of death or lost love or anything like that. He's just cruising along, and it's almost like his song of joy or something. People used to call it that. I don't know. It's called the Song of the Night.
Song of the Night, yeah.
Song of the Night, but I think it's also, his ode to joy. Or I try to say his ode to joy, sort of, because it ends with that big timpani fanfare at the opening.
Oh yeah,
the finale, and then this goes from there. So
super exciting.
And it's one of those things. It was like my first Mahler, so it's very special to me. But most people think Mahler 7, not like the real intense tear at your soul thing, but just very, very pleasurable and enjoyable, and a neat piece to experience.
Yes, and there's one movement, I think it's the 4th, the slow movement before that big splashy loud movement, that has guitar and mandolin.
That's right.
When do you ever hear that in a symphony together? Those two instruments. It's just, he just loved those amazing sounds. And one more thing, Chuck, that reminds me about Otto Klemperer. Chuck posted some excerpts and had a comment on our thread, the people that gave the testimonials, about how extremely slow the Klemperer recording is. And I looked on the Wikipedia article on Mahler 7. The symphony lasts about 80 minutes. There's no intermission. It's the only piece. The Klemperer recording, 100 minutes. How can you, that's Mahler 3 length. I mean, talk about dragging it out. I mean, that's from 80 to 100. That's a
measured interpretation.
He was famous for that. He was known for
really
slow tempo.
I didn't know that.
Whatever.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's cool. See, this is great. We learn from each other. That's cool.
Yeah, I think anyone who can survive the Mahler 6 then can go to the Mahler 7, because that piece is, takes you to the abyss.
Yeah, with the hammer blow.
Yeah, the hammer blow. Well, his pretension of his own death and everything. The guitar and mandolin clearly had a huge influence on 20th century musicians. First on Schoenberg, but clearly also on Webern. If you know his 5 pieces for orchestra and everything, the delicate sonority. Mahler's orchestral innovations were really what impressed his followers more than his music. The composers following him. But as we thrill to what the musical architecture and the narrative, the fact that the way they tell stories, Mahler tells an epic story, in a way that no other composer has managed to do so, and that's why we have such a. As I said when I started my Mahler series, there's a reason. I think I told you guys I had a funny way of starting my Mahler series. There's only 2 clubs that are international, and one is the Laurel and Hardy Club, because you can go to any city and find a Laurel and Hardy Club. They're called Sons of the Desert, named after the one of their most popular silent films. And the other is, at least till recently, a Mahler Society in every symphony. There's, so I started saying, what is it that inspires such passion in people that they want to form a club and get together to talk about it? Like people did, I suppose, with the Wagner operas in the 19th century and 20th century as well. So anyway, that's again, you guys are doing a great advertisement for our aficionado level for the Slack, because all of these discussions and these threads can multiply on there, and where we really all take advantage of this knowledge that we all have together.
Can I do a call out to my friend Ron Harris, who's here?
Yeah, please.
He's my buddy from Laguna Beach. Our kids were in school.
Say hi, Ron.
Hi there. I've heard you, Russell. I've had a subscription with the LA Phil for, I think, 42 years now.
Wow.
Back to Zub and Mena days.
Mm.
And I'm on the board of the Laguna Beach Music Festival with Pat. And so she's one of my favorite people in the world.
Oh, he has very good taste.
Clearly he has good taste.
I hope you join, Ron.
I will.
I am so delighted that you came on. That is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so just before we finish, I want you guys to know that, so the Hangouts are going to be primarily just for consortium members, but we've talked about, if you remember, I will, not probably February, but starting in March, I will offer one open one to everyone a month. And I also want you to know, if you want to invite any of your friends to the Hangouts, you have the permission to do that. You've got the link and you may do that, okay? Because we want people to see what we're doing and hopefully want to climb aboard. I think this is something absolutely unique that we're starting, and it's really going to be up to us where it goes. And I'm absolutely convinced of the talent that I have amassed here. When I look at this, I'm looking at all these boxes here, all this creativity confined to these little boxes. It is absolutely amazing when I see, together we're really gonna, I think we're gonna deepen all of our lives and knowledge. And I just want to again tell you how meaningful it is for me, and I am sure it's going to be for you. I got to hear from several of you on Wednesday, and that's the deal. So next week, what we'll do, I'll see many of you tomorrow for the piano concerto, and then the rest of you, I hope to see you next Monday, and we'll continue. I actually want to start with just going around again, just kind of introducing each other, even though most of us know each other, just introducing ourselves and talking about things that we do, and then getting to know each other in breakout rooms. And then I'll pick some good music for us to talk about to get us started. So does it sound good?
Yep.
And I think it was great that you had levels where, the aficionado, and I just think it's with everybody's price point ability, and you've been so generous. We said it last week.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Gloria. This way, like I was telling you at the beginning of the Hangout, this has been like a composition for me. In other words, there's been sketches, a lot of revisions, a lot of inspiration, and then a lot of doubt. And so all of that thing goes into any piece you write. And in fact, yeah. So I think this is going to be a very, very fantastic piece, and we're having the premiere now. So it'll be up to you to see where we take it, because that's what I'm counting on. Ed, nice to see you too. Yeah, I'm looking at all my superheroes there. So
good to be seen. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very much seen. Okay, and Ted, thanks for talking about some of the technical stuff there with the iPad and the system software. This is our scourge. All of us are dealing with this. My studio computer, where I do all my writing, just busted. It's a 2008 Mac Pro. So you think it's like easy, you just get a new one. Well, of course, it's nothing like that. It's completely traumatizing, because if you get a new one, then you have to deal with what operating system, what will still talk to that operating system. What else do you have to buy?
It was like 14 years old, Russell. Come on, it's not going to live forever.
Well, that had to do with Apple. They just decided not to concentrate on the professional Mac Pro very much, and then the ones that came after were kind of duds.
I just got a new MacBook Pro, and with the Apple chip in it, and
yes,
it is awesome. It is really cool.
It's awesome, but it doesn't run with most of the music software I use yet. It will soon, but not yet. So that's the tricky thing.
That's a problem for you.
Well, no, so I'm just trying to say that when some of you are saying you have trouble signing on, doing things, getting things, I'm just completely with you, because everything takes a lot. The more power, the more you want to use something, use all of its power, the more you're subject then to all of these conflicts and things. Because, if you're dealing with 20 other software companies that are not keeping up necessarily with all of these changes at the same time, we're all being aware of very complex systems. Just as all of you to get on the Zoom call had to learn to adapt to a complex system.
My son refers to Apple as the walled garden.
Oh, I like that. That's very wise.
Yeah. Well,
That's
he's a
very deep.
software guy.
No, that's very deep because that's their philosophy, right?
Mhm.
It's
If you
very
like it the way they
constrained.
do it, it's wonderful. But if you
Yeah.
want to try something else, it's really hard.
That's exactly right. And they make their software developers really work.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're always undercutting them. That's absolutely right. Yeah, because the way they do secrecy. Yes, that can be another discussion sometime. I see in the chat someone asked about I have not seen it yet. I know this is a classical forum, but they talked about Peter Jackson's Get Back, the Beatles documentary. That was you?
Yeah,
I've heard it's incredible.
it is.
Okay, well,
I mean,
it's on my list.
Our investment. I mean, it's just seeing how they operate, how they compose, and they were good friends. Unlike kind of the rumor that this was the end, even though it became the end, that they hated each other by the end. You don't see it in this.
It's Ronald. It's so great that you. Sorry.
I've seen that Beatle thing. I loved it. I thought it was very, very interesting. Really loved it.
Did they substantiate what I read someplace is that Lennon and McCartney, when they in their younger days, used to sing the Mahler des Knaben Wunderhorn songs just for fun, just because they could?
It wouldn't surprise me, but I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
And it was not substantiated, in the documentary.
Okay.
That's too much.
But I do remember an interview that John Lennon was a part of, where he was asked who his favorite singer was, and he said Beniamino Gigli. The guy said, "What?"
Oh, he just Googled that. He didn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, my friend Laura, my executive director from our LA Youth Orchestra, is a passionate pop music aficionado as well as an opera singer. And she watched that 8-hour, Ronald, she watched it twice. That's how compelling she found it. She logged in 16 hours to that thing. So lets me know.
It was fascinating. It's worth.
I agree.
If you like the Beatles music, it's definitely worth your time.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good recommendation. I think we're gonna be besieged with those kinds of tips and recommendations as we go forward. And I personally love it.
Oh, speaking of that, the rooftop concert was 53 years ago yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard that in Get Back, it's longer than in the movie. Which is another reason to watch it. Yeah.
All righty. Okay, more tips later. I want to bid a wonderful evening to all of you. I'll see some of you tomorrow. If you just signed up for the Concerto thing, I'll get the links out to you tonight. And the rest of you, I hope to see on Monday. Thank you so much. We'll get to know each other much better going forwards. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Russell.
You're so welcome. Good night.